Good morning. Welcome back to Forex Focus here on Tasty Live. I'm Glenn Freiberger, joined with me, Peter Mulmat. How we doing?
I'm doing great, Glenn. How are you?
Not too bad. Thank you. This is my earliest time slot in the week, Monday.
Look at you, my friend.
Starting off the week strong.
Very strong.
I'm excited. Thanks for having me.
You have a good weekend?
I did. Went to the Art Institute, stopped by.
Look at you. With the missus?
I did, yeah. It's, I hate to say it, love the Art Institute. It's one of my favorite places in Chicago. As a member, you get access to a lounge, which is very, very nice.
Oh, here comes the bougie part of it. Okay.
Well, luckily, I still get a student membership. They haven't asked to show a student ID in a couple years here. But
you go down to the Thorn rooms?
I didn't this time, but those are funny. The little miniature rooms.
Yeah.
But this lounge is right at the end of that big bridge from Millennium Park.
Right.
So it's actually in a nice place, and now I've turned it into my free coffee date place.
Oh, very nice.
They have complimentary coffee. So.
And you go down the modern wing, or you stick to the traditional stuff? What'd you do?
This time just modern.
Okay.
Nice. I like it. It's nice that it takes the pressure off of.
And was this a Saturday
everything.
date, Sunday date?
Sunday, early, late morning, early afternoon.
Okay.
I left very hungry.
Very nice.
Yeah, not too bad. Watched Gladiator 2 in light of instead of the Oscars. Did you watch the Oscars?
I can't tell. I got stuck for an hour. And it's just, it's so hard. I mean, my wife and my daughter love it, so they were out and they love the clothes and everything. But it was, it's hard to sit through. So
yeah.
Didn't know, and it's weird. I don't know why, but I mean, I didn't know a lot of these movies.
That's what I tuned in and was like, oh, what's up for it? And was like, oh, I've heard a lot about a lot of these, and realized I hadn't seen any of them.
Right.
So it's like, I'll see what wins and watch that. So now I guess I got to watch Honora.
I guess, which is now that's the sex worker.
Yes.
Okay.
And our good friend Frank watched it, and his feedback was, she really earns it.
He actually he saw The Brutalist with Adrian Brody. So
he won. Adrian won.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's very well read, well versed.
Or he's got a lot of free time, which is another thing we need to talk about.
But all good. What'd you get up to this weekend?
Just a little bit of everything. So
did you fix your car? Did you
got my car fixed? Yes.
Oh, so the glue did not work.
Glue 2 worked.
Okay, nice.
Glue 2 worked. And it turns out that there's a bigger crack. So you really can't see if you look, but if you do look, it's like I had to take it in for something else, and the guy's like, well, you need to replace the whole bumper. And I'm like, here you go. And it was like, no, I'm not replacing the whole bumper for what they want to do. So this will eventually become someone else's problem.
All right, good.
So,
well, glad you stopped it for now.
Yes. Yeah,
made it through the winter.
All good there. Cold still, though.
Yeah, sun was out, but you can't really feel it.
Yeah.
But still, I'll take it. It's nice. And daylight savings coming up. That makes
What's that next Sunday, right?
Yeah, that's
so
bad for you.
Spring ahead.
You don't like that because it makes the mornings darker. Am I right?
Mornings are always dark anyway. So
yeah. Well, today was actually, you could tell it's getting a little lighter.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite part. But yeah, welcome to March.
Yeah, but we get more light at the end of that. Yeah, exciting. Yeah, it's I don't know. This was like the fastest February.
Seriously.
I don't know if it's because business was great in terms of there was so much to do, trading wise, but it just kind of flew by. It's hard to believe we're already into March.
Yeah, I'm a big college basketball fan, so this is exciting.
Oh, that starts up then.
Oh yeah, we're getting into it. My team, Northwestern, will make the Big Ten tournament, which now is a feat in and of itself because there are 18 teams, and I think they kick out the bottom 4.
So who are the favorites right now to
Auburn of the Big Ten, or the Big Dance?
The Big Dance.
The Big Dance, Auburn, Duke, Alabama is actually pretty good. A lot of SEC teams, which we don't normally see, so should be interesting. But yeah, a lot of Big Ten teams as well.
And when do those
Michigan.
games start? Soon, don't they?
The conference tournaments start in like next week.
Okay.
Yeah, but still got a lot this week to shake things out. Then the tournament starts the 21st or so. So
Very good.
yeah, they say March, but it's really.
So
kicks
when
off
will you
into
do your
April.
bracket? Or your
You find out how to
Who's-
do your bracket I think on the 21st.
Okay.
That Sunday.
very good.
So yeah, an exciting time. But sports betting kind of took a lot of wind out of the sail of it, just because my roommates are really into it.
So I got to imagine DraftKings has every permutation and
Yeah.
combination.
So college sports, you can even bet on individual players, only up until tip off, and so that is not, my household is not just college basketball. It's NBA basketball. Anything. I'll walk home and someone will let me know how many points someone needs to score tonight for them
So
to
are
be
they
able to pay
watching
for
games
dinner.
all night?
Yeah.
Will they watch the games or they watch the games on their phone?
A bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah, we usually have some NBA television on at all times. We have two TVs in the living room, so one of them most definitely always has some form of basketball on. It's getting a little draining. I don't. At the end of the day, I want my friends to make money, but I don't really care if Jalen Williams has 8 points tonight on a Tuesday, playing in a regular season NBA game. So I don't know. It's been an interesting exercise, this whole sports betting thing.
So these guys, they must be on hours a day then
Yeah.
on their device.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
our generation has been. That's not the hard part. Being on your phone hours a day.
No,
It's just a new app. Which app
but,
am I on?
but that's it. It's fascinating to see what will draw someone's interest and in the way they build it to keep someone on whatever platform we're talking about, trading,
Yeah.
sports.
And it works.
shopping.
Man, there's a right way to do it.
Yeah.
Because you can get sucked in. But yeah, it's all good things. Getting sucked into markets this week.
Okay.
We're looking good here. March, looking to be an exciting month if we open up the platform. February actually turned out to be a real roller coaster of the month. So we have a lot of momentum coming into it. Things starting to pick back up. A lot for dollar markets, a lot for European currencies over the weekend. A lot of news there. How'd you take the feisty Friday we had here? I didn't get to see you, but yeah, it was fun. It wasn't fun. It's tough.
No, it's sad, but it's funny. They sold euros. But it was month end though too. So we saw this big explosive rally come out of equities last hour of the day. Treasuries got well above 118. Gold got sold off a little bit into its month end time frame, which happens to be 12:30 in the afternoon our time. And the dollar was pretty well bid. Now we're seeing a little bifurcation. Euro strong, sterling strong. Yen, again, as you ran the numbers, it's charting its own
moving.
pathway
Yeah.
forward. And rates really haven't moved. I mean, the 2 years wrapped around, just broke under 4%, 3.99, I think. But yen a little bit different than everything else. But it's interesting. Aussie, Canada, and Kiwi having a really hard time railing alongside of euro and sterling.
Right.
And is that with tomorrow we've got the president speaking, State of the Union. Doesn't that
man.
also happen to be tariff time bomb or whatever we want to call it?
Why not?
I think it's March 4th, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting because I look at it, a 56-cent Kiwi is awfully cheap, 62-cent Aussie. And I mean, the euro was trading, when I got up this morning, it was 45 pips lower. So it's already had a
Yeah.
nice move in the morning.
Well, that was at like 2 a.m. or something crazy. So they've had some hours, but yeah, it is. You bring up a really good point here. Looking at all these pairs stacked up like this, sorted by percentage change just on the day. Yeah, what you'd get in a normal story of dollar strength or
Right.
weakness, you'd see a much different outcome than what you're seeing right now. Now we're seeing big bids in European currencies, the euro and the pound. Dollar, yen moving pretty differently. Dollar getting some strength there on, bond yields kicking back up a little bit.
Yeah.
So giving the dollar a bid there. And then, the commodity currencies of Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar up on the day, but just barely, not to the degree of these European currencies. It paints a pretty interesting picture coming into March here.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how big end of the month equity, whatever reason you want to attribute to it, flow in U.S. equity markets, dollar getting a little bit bid. It'll be interesting to see if that was just month-end flows and whether equities hold on. Now, equities had a huge rally. Granted, we really got punished last week. So was it some people taking some, if you were short, taking some profits, some people bottom picking? I mean, things like NVIDIA were cheap. Palantir, which I guess is going to 700 according to Frank, sub $80 was it was at a close, I think, around 85. These were stocks that were $1.25 4 days ago, $125. So definitely some of the, whether it be Amazon or Tesla, some stuff really marked down. Big tech names. It'll be interesting to see if this bounce holds and they build on it, or it's just a kind of air-driven end-of-the-month rally that's given everybody a better chance to lean into this. So it'll be, and I think we're seeing the same thing in Euro again, too. Is there a sense, does it feel a little bit like this currency wants to rally? It does feel like people are stepping up, but its inability to stay and hold above 105 is a little problematic for me. You've got to respect the tape action this morning. It was a decent rally off the lows, but its inability to hold above 105 is a little bit struggling. Sterling, again, same thing, just a little bit slightly underperforming, but pretty good performance there versus what we looked at. And, one of the things I wanted to take a look at, and let's jump over if we can, is to Euro Yen. Because now, guys, when we look at, we look at the dollar majors, Euro against US, dollar Yen, dollar Swiss, Aussie US. This happens to be Euro Yen, the second largest cross traded. Now, when you trade Euro US, you're trading across.
Right.
It's just the Euro of the US. Now, we're US focused traders. The world also too. They're large trade components, but when you look at globally, this is the second largest traded currency pair in the world.
Interesting.
So it is a interesting pair, interesting liquidity. It's got a good liquidity profile. And what we're seeing here is the playthrough of that outperformance in the euro, underperformance in the yen. Now, we talked about, is the yen at 150, and we're a little bit higher now, is the long-term direction of travel in Japanese rates, U.S. rates now, which it's funny, Friday they marked almost 2 rate cuts back into the U.S. cycle. In December, it's the worst job in the world trying to guess what interest rates are going to be in a year.
Right.
But that's just Fed Fund futures pricing that in, which we had talked a little bit about. Well, if the direction of travel of U.S. rates is no change or lower, the direction of travel of Japanese rates is no change or higher, we're probably going to see a little bit of that correction in either dollar yen, or we can make the same argument here in euro yen to a lesser degree, because the direction of travel on euro rates right now is no change or lower, just like the U.S.
Right.
So this is actually giving us a little bit different story as to that direction of travel, just like dollar yen is. But let's go out to the daily and take a little bit look at that.
Yeah, because you bring out an interesting, from a timing perspective, this is interesting because this week we do have an ECB rate decision expected to cut the last time I looked at it. So that'll be on Thursday. But
it's
we
a
always
great
see.
point you make. Expected to cut Why the heck is the euro rallying? That's known.
Right.
So it's what's next. And if next is they're done, that is really what's playing through the market. Maybe the 104.5s we were looking at Friday were relatively cheap. So don't get caught up in if they cut, we're finally going to get through 105 and chew through 106. That's already priced in. And that's why it doesn't seem frustrating. Like, well, if they're cut, why is the currency rallying? The currency should be falling. That cut is already priced into the market here. But what we're seeing here in euro yen is something that has been considerably, if you're looking for something, range trading.
Oh, wow.
We talk about technical setups. Yeah. And what I like is, sure, when things go to multi-decade highs and lows, it's interesting. Often, as a contrarian, it's tough picking tops and bottoms because no matter how rich they are, they tend to get a little richer or a little cheaper before they stop. This is a market that has had a decent range to it, good backup flows, and from a technical standpoint, when I say technical, not a line drawing guy, but just there's been a well-established range. We're at the lower end of it a little bit. We kicked off that low end with a really solid up move here.
Yep.
And that up move, guys, is just a combination of what? Euro rallying and yen falling. So that's why is it overly amplified? It's because the pair itself, if you want to go back and look at the dollar components, the euro versus US dollar is rallying, while dollar yen, the yen versus the dollar is falling. So almost going down that route, it's connective tissue, but it's almost complicated. Just take this as another pair with a set of extremes. And what's nice is, from a tape action standpoint, this kind of, spending time around the bottom, not being able to get through it, then having a clear up day like this is one I'm going to be watching all week. Because if this builds a little bit on it, then that tells you, okay, I'm not going to get sucked into the news cycle of non-farm payrolls and ECB rate cuts. This is going to tell me that whatever they do with rates, 104 euros on the cheap end, 105 euros on the cheap end, 152, you can argue it's cheap versus 160, which we saw last week, versus 3 years ago. We got a lot of ground to cover. This is one that is really, and what I like from a setup standpoint is it gives you a good range. If you get any kind of pullback into the the lower part of 158, 157.70, you've kind of got your trade set up for you. You know where you're wrong, below 156. You know what halfway back is, 161. And you can play this back and forth on both sides. The trade itself sets up for good risk to reward. If it ends up taking out these lows, then you're going to look for a new. But when you're looking for something with defined ranges, and again, you just went through very elegantly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do they line up perfectly? It's never a perfectly horizontal line. But that's good. That is by far good enough for me. Looking at a relative level where the market has seen an inflection and a change in direction. Now, if we build on the amplitude of the up move here, maybe we do have a more interesting upside than just buying Euro USD.
Right, and you bring up a really good point, and I want to know if there's any validity in this thinking. You mentioned that the rate cut for the ECB already priced in, but we do see when we have a big week for a pair like Euro USD, where we have that rate decision on Thursday, we have non-farm payrolls on Friday. We have historically seen some kind of congestion leading up to those events, where people aren't as confident picking a side until they have the full story. And when we're looking at a cross like this, is this perhaps something that is more free-flowing through these events before and after?
It's a great question, Glenn, because it's like, well, I'm solving my problem. I'm taking the dollar component out of it. We've got non-farm payrolls. We've got, what's the other two things that come out before it? With JOLTS and
ADP.
ADP. Again, three. I don't mean to sound harsh, but when I say they're meaningless numbers, they're backward-looking estimations.
Right.
One of them is a phone survey. And again, as I've been told by my kid, Dad, no one uses their phone anymore. So I'm actually ashamed when I'm using my phone and being told that it's inappropriate to call someone before you text them, which is a bridge that I will never cross. I will be dialing till I die. But it's a great question that you ask. Am I taking out some of that noise? You are. So it's an interesting way to, with non-dollar pairs, if you don't want to deal with the randomness of non-farms. And again, the only benefit of non-farms is you'll listen to a sea of macro economists, both pre and post, tell you what this means for the U.S. jobs market. God bless them. That's their job. That's why they get paid. As a trader, I just want tape action.
Right.
I want movement from it, and I just want the number to be different than what the estimation is, because the more different it is from the estimation, the bigger the movement. But you're absolutely right. This is a great way of sterilizing a little country-specific noise out of the equation. So this is one we'll keep on the radar and just see how this shakes out along with the dollar majors this week.
Amazing. And do you see, I mean, taking out a dollar component right now is even more, can be even more of a value add than just seeing non-farm payrolls on Friday when we have such volatility from random announcements and random tariff news.
You're still going to get a little bit of that. You would think that the tariff chatter, Aussie Canada is a spread I trade. It ebbs and flows in correlation. I haven't traded much of it lately, but this would be a case where Aussie Canada sterilizes that tariff noise out a little bit, because if he zings the tariff thing out there, they're both going to get hit.
Right.
Now, when you have Aussie Canada, it means you're short one, you're long the other. You can have it on either way, but that will neutralize. So yes, you will lose on whatever you're long, you will make on whatever you're short in that move. So does that sterilize out that tariff talk a little bit? Yes, that's one of the ways we can use non-dollar pairs to do that. And the great thing here is, if you can, I think I can too. I wonder if I can. No, I completely just lost my screen. Did I take it down for both of us?
No, I still got it up here.
Okay. What I want to do is, do we have a little bit of time?
We've got...
we got 1 minute. No, we'll wrap. But what I want to do next time is we'll go through stuff, but Glenn, I want you and I to walk through the trade ticket for a non-dollar cross, because everybody, I think a little bit of trepidation is, okay, Pete, I get it. It's just a chart. It's two relationships. But when I queue up the deal ticket, it looks a little bit differently. There's a pips per yen, pips per euro.
Right.
The good news is the platform does all the work for you. It takes it all back to dollars. So it's all very straightforward. That shouldn't be your berry. Let the technology do the work for you. You do the work on the trading opportunities. And it's our job to make this as easy as possible for you to translate. Okay, what does this mean to my dollar P&L?
Right.
Which is an important component when we look at trade sizing and non-correlated opportunities.
Amazing. Well, we have a good week for us here with the euro against the dollar and crosses like the Japanese yen. But that'll do it for us on this Monday morning. Up next, you have Tom, Tony, and Vanetta. Stay tuned.
You can get up to $4,000 when you open and fund a new account with tastytrade. That's 4,000 buckaroos, 4,000 bills, or clams, 4,000 in dough or cheddar, not the cheesy kind. 4 large, 4K, 4 grand, which is no small thing. Open and fund a new tastytrade account and get on the platform for traders who just want to trade. And did we mention a bonus of up to 4,000 smackaroos? Tasty